Most expensive books collections in the world. We'll explore the 10 most expensive books ever sold and take a look at what makes them so valuable, bringing people like Bill Gates to spend tens of millions for a copy. You'll find that most of the books on this list are extremely rare, but some are also incredibly important historical documents, which is why they're so valuable. They say that a book is a mirror that reflects your personality. Books have been a source of education for centuries. For some people, it's more than just a hobby. From ancient civilizations to modern times, it is common to see people spending thousands of dollars to have a copy of various books. And as prices go sky high for new releases, this list will help you achieve your goal of reading not only famous books but also more obscure ones. Books are a testament to the power of literacy, knowledge, and words. These books have been valuable investments throughout history and are still worth their weight in gold today. They also show how much we've learned about humanity and the value of words over time. When choosing what to read next, it may seem strange to consider a book's price. Books are often valued for their rarity and historical value. Here are the top most expensive books in the world. What is the most expensive book ever? Here's the most expensive book ever sold, with prices adjusted for inflation. 1. Codex Leicester by Leonardo da Vinci. The most expensive book ever sold was the Codex Leicester, which was bought by Bill Gates in 1994 for $30.8 million, which is equivalent to about $54.4 million in 2021. What's so special about it? The Codex Leicester was essentially Leonardo da Vinci's science diary. Created in 1510, it contains da Vinci's drawings, theories, and observations on things like the movement of water, the luminosity of the moon, and why fossils of sea creatures can be found on mountains. After his purchase, Gates had the codex digitally scanned, then released some of the images as screensavers and wallpapers for Windows 98 Plus. 2. The Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon holds the current record for the most expensive religious text ever sold. In 2017, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints spent $35 million on a handwritten printer's manuscript written in 1830. That text was used to print the earliest copies of the Book of Mormon. 3. The Gospels of Henry the Lion. The Gospels of Henry the Lion held the title of the most expensive book in the world until Bill Gates purchased the Codex Leicester in 1994. The Gospel book was intended by Henry the Lion, Duke of Saxony, for the altar of the Virgin Mary in the Brunswick Cathedral. It's considered a masterpiece of Romanesque book illumination and is believed to date back to 1188. It was sold by auction in 1983 to a group of bidders that included the German federal government and other private donors. 4. The Magna Carta. Issued in 1215, the Magna Carta is a royal charter of rights signed by King John of England. It was the first document to officially declare that the king and his government were not above the law. David Rubenstein, county founder of the Carlyle Group. Its intention was to prevent monarchies from exploiting their power and to place limits on royal authority. Paid $21.3 million to ensure that a 1297 version of the historic document would stay in the United States, whose own government was heavily influenced by the principles laid out in the Charter. 5. The St. Cuthbert Gospel. The St. Cuthbert Gospel, the oldest preserved European book, was purchased in 2012 by the British Library in London for $14 million. It had been buried with its writer, St. Cuthbert, in 687. It was rediscovered in 1104 when St. Cuthbert's remains were moved from a grave to a shrine. The book was owned privately for several centuries until it was donated to a Jesuit community in Belgium, where it remained for 250 years. The book is available at the British Library's online digitized manuscripts database. 6. The Bay Psalm Book. The Bay Psalm Book was the first book printed in British North America. It was published in 1640, 20 years after the first pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Rock. 11 copies are known to exist. In 2013, David Rubenstein bought one for $14 million. He frequently loans it out to libraries. 7. The Rothschild Prayer Book. The Rothschild Prayer Book is a 16th-century Flemish manuscript lined with gold and filled with paintings and illustrations by master Renaissance artists. It's named for the book wealthy Rothschild family that acquired it sometime after 1868. It's not known where the book resided for the 350 years prior. The book was stolen by the Nazis in 1938. Hitler gave it to the National Library in Vienna in 1942. but when the war ended, the library refused to return it to the Rothschilds. It was finally returned to its rightful owners in 1999 and sold in 2014 billionaire Australian businessman Kerry Stokes for $13.6 million. 8. Birds of America by John James Audubon. Ornithologist and painter John James Audubon traveled across the United States studying native bird species and other wildlife, recording his observations and creating striking illustrations along the way. His Birds of America is a 4-volume masterpiece with only 119 copies in existence, most of which are owned by libraries and museums. The collection is revered by both naturalists and scientists, with many of Audubon's names for species still used by researchers. 9. The Gutenberg Bible. The Gutenberg Bible was the first complete book to be printed using movable type, with Johannes Gutenberg's printing press in 1455. There are 49 Gutenberg Bibles known to exist, but only 21 are complete. Since Japan lacked a Gutenberg Bible in 1987, you can flip through one of them at the University of Texas at Austin. Since there was no Gutenberg Bible in Japan in 1987, a Japanese bookseller, the Maruzen Company, bought an incomplete copy for $5.4 million. 10. The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. In 1998, British billionaire and philanthropist John Paul Getty Jr. bought an extremely rare 1477 first edition of Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales for $7.5 million. Only 12 copies of the first edition are known to exist. What is the rarest book in the world? One of the rarest books in the world is Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester, which is why it also tops this list as the most expensive. Bill Gates purchased the only known copy in 1994, but regularly lends it to libraries and museums. A book lover's treasure. While most book lovers will never own a copy of these rare and most expensive books, you never know what rare finds you might stumble across in your closet, at a yard sale, or in your local used bookshop. Check out our tips for finding and identifying rare books. If you're not exactly in the market for expensive books at the moment, we've got you covered with the best places to find cheap used books. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.